It was one hell of a night in Fortaleza, Brazil, as UFC set the record in the modern era for the most submissions in a single event. 8 submissions, one night. As a result, almost all of the Facebook fights got bonused onto the Fuel TV broadcast. So, from the bottom to the top, let's get it started. And of course, I will look down here and there to check my notes to make sure I get these names right, because they're not all easy to pronounce. Let's start with Antonio Braga Neto defeating Anthony Smith. It was a submission at 152 of the first round via knee bar. Pretty sweet one too, but not the first submission we'd seen, not the last. Kyle Magalhães defeated Carlos Venla via rear naked choke, 249 of the second round. And actually, I thought Carlos Venla was winning in the first round. He was pounding on Magalhães pretty hard, but I think he took a huge adrenaline dump after the first 4 minutes, and in round 2, Magalhães was able to capitalize on that and find a way to finish him. So props to Magalhães. Rodrigo Dam versus Mizuto Hirota. I think this was one of the few that didn't get bonused, and that's probably because it went to a split decision, but Dam picked it up 29-28 times 2 and 28-29. Ildemar Alcantara defeated Leandro Silva. This too didn't get bonus, and this too was a decision, but it was a unanimous one, 30-27 across the board. Felipe Aranches versus Godofredo Pepe was bonused early on the Fuel TV card. This one ended via TKO, though not a submission. Elbows and punches finished the fight. It was 3:32 of the first round, and Pepe's purple hair did not work for him on this evening, so he'll have to try something different next time. Rafael Assunção versus Vaughn Lee. I was really hoping this one would get bonused, and it did. It was a submission via armbar in the second round at 151 for the number 6 ranked bantamweight in the world. Assunção once again shows why he's on his way to a title shot, and of course was sure to mention that. Although the translator was a little bit wacky tonight because he said nearly the same thing for every Brazilian fighter that was interviewed. I want to thank everybody in the crowd in Brazil and everybody here in this town of Fortaleza for putting on such a great show and respecting the fighters, blah, blah, blah. Mix that up, remix that any way you want. He said almost the same thing with just variations of those words. On to the main card. Honey Jason defeated Mike Wilkinson via triangle choke, 124 of the first round. Total one-sided ass-kicking from Honey Bezerra. He just never gave Wilkinson a chance. The guy was smoked. Daniel Sarafian did something very similar to Eddie Mendez. Arm triangle choke, 220 of the first round. I should note Honey Jason's submission was the 5th fastest in WEC UFC history for that weight class. I don't think Sarafian can say the same, but he just manhandled Mendez. Again, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu expert doing what he does best. Eric Silva defeated Jason High with a triangle armbar submission, 111 of the first round in a welterweight bout, so the streak of submissions continued. But then, light heavyweights fought Thiago Silva and Rafael Feijão Cavalcante, and it was a KO at 4:29 of the first round. Feijão, again, like we said earlier, it looked like he had an adrenaline dump about 3 or 4 minutes into the fight, and Thiago Silva sensed it, swarmed him, just unloaded with a flurry of punches, and finished him off. There was one big uppercut that dropped him. Everything was academic from that point. Then at welterweight, we had Leonardo Santos versus William Padalino. Padalino looked pretty good in the first round. He got a takedown. He was handling himself well for being such a young kid, only 21. I believe they said he was the 2nd or 3rd youngest fighter in the UFC. But eventually the pressure of the spotlight got to him, and Santos is a longtime Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu expert who may be new to the UFC, but is not new to people from that scene at least. And, in fact, as a veteran, you would expect him to win on a card where everybody's winning with submissions, and that's what he did. He got Padalino into the arm triangle choke and tapped him out. Afterward, he went looking for Jose Aldo to give him a big hug, but Jose Aldo was already on his way to the cage to give him a big hug, and the two shared a moment together because they are friends going way, way back. That's the way these two felt about each other. They were blood brothers even though they're from different mothers. So nice to see these teammates showing each other respect. A real feel-good moment. And speaking of showing respect, Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira showed nothing but it for Werdum when he got verbally submitted 2 minutes 10 seconds into the second round via an arm bar. He couldn't even tap, he just said it, and that was it. It wasn't that Nog got totally overwhelmed. He was doing okay. You could tell Werdum was landing the better strikes, and he was getting the takedowns when he wanted them, but Nog had a few chances in there. He would try to sweep, he would try to go for submissions, but Werdum knows that game very well, just like Nog does, and he didn't fall for any of the tricks, and he was just able to ride it out until eventually being less war-weary and less beaten down over time. Werdum just was fresher in the second round. I mean, seriously, you look at these two guys. Nog's only 2 years older, but he looks 20 years older. The guy has been through hell and back. And Werdum got the submission, said he just wants to get that chance to prove he's the best heavyweight in the world. All he wants is a shot. Please give him the title shot. And I'm Stevie J for Wrestling Observer, Glove Up or Shut Up, and AngryMarks.com.